YouTube.
I've just hit live by accident.
Oh, we're already live?
Yeah, I've just hit the live button.
So come and join us, guys. See you there in a minute.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about that. I thought I was just keeping the camera alive.
Hello, everyone.
Here comes Nads. Hi, everyone. How are you all? I was going to bail out, but then I just wanted some distraction. Otherwise, I was just going to go upstairs and just stare at the ceiling. Hi, Della Nixon. Hi, Emma Carter. Hi, Sally O'Sullivan, Mark Oakerby, April Hill, Michelle Main, Selena Lou Fogg, Emma Staple. Thank you for your message, Emma.
Hi, everybody.
Branya Scarlett, Helen 74, South Africa, Michelle Chandler, Megan Peralta Hearson. How are we all?
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Blimey, what have you got on? Not a lot.
Got a t-shirt on.
In a good way.
Do you want an olive?
No, I really don't want an olive.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for all your lovely messages. Yeah, it's been a really weird day today. But we're not going to talk about that. Suffice it to say, thank you very much for all of your messages on Insta and on YouTube. Vito Corleone, my friend was in Afghanistan when he was in the army recently. He showed a university he had to turn up where everyone was killed because the Taliban don't want women in education.
Oh my God.
There's so many elements to this story. It's so Afghanistan has, I've had a sort of almost constant feed from the radio whilst working, and it's such a changeable situation at the moment. But it started today with you hearing the Defence Secretary, didn't it?
Yeah, and you know, just to give a quick sort of, just in case people don't know about what's happening in Afghanistan. So, 20 years ago, the Americans and the Brits went over there because the place was insane. It was insane what was going on over there. And as we know, we lost so many.
Can I just add a thought there? If you read, go and read Simon Jenkins's opinion piece in The Guardian today. Xander now would be going, no, that left-wing nutter. But as he says, Afghanistan, when they went into Afghanistan, was in no way the same as Libya has become and Iran was. Iraq was, sorry. Interestingly, apparently, I didn't realise the Taliban requested that bin Laden be removed. The mullahs wanted him removed. They weren't. It's Pakistan. It's that strange area between Afghanistan and Pakistan.
But at the point that the Brits and the Americans went in, people were living in dire straits.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I remember those horrendous pictures that we were seeing coming out.
But the invasion was about Blair and Bush wanting a scapegoat.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. But when we went in there, the people of Afghan needed help.
Those are two different. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they coexist. The two things.
And of course, many lives were lost, and many troops were injured. And really, our heart is going out not only to the people of Afghanistan today, but also those families and friends of people that were lost or injured, and indeed those people themselves, because a lot was achieved in that time. And somebody was on the radio yesterday said, you know, what we have to remember is no lives have been lost since 2013. It's very much been a peacemaking situation out there, peacekeeping situation. We still have troops in places like Cyprus and South Korea. I mean, all over the world, peacekeeping. And you know, to have turned around, to help a country turn around in 20 years and then expect them to be able to completely stand on their own 2 feet. You know, Trump went in there with his great clodhopper boots and cooked up this deal to such a sensitive region, you know, with no understanding really, like you were saying yesterday, Mark, of the patience of these, a misunderstanding of the psyche of the Taliban. So they were given a clear date when the Americans and the British a clear date. And how long has it taken now to take over completely?
They've run ragged through the country in about 9 days.
9 days. Yeah. The president has left.
Can I just say on that point, the Afghan president, who essentially was sort of popped in there by us, really, wasn't he? By all accounts, there was corruption running right up to the top.
Sure.
But why, when he legged it, did he not think to suggest to some others to leg it? It's curious how he got out with plenty of time
Well, I just can't believe that this wasn't worked out better by the Brits and
Well, that's
Americans
where
to get
Biden-
everyone out.
Well,
Well,
this-
you've given a great big clear date
Yeah.
of when you're no longer going to be there.
But this is why Biden, I think, is under extraordinary... Now, Biden is under bipartisan pressure, which basically means Republicans and Democrats are criticising him. And I think fairly, because he hasn't said an effing thing. And I've just looked on the news, PA News thing, and he's giving a statement to the American people at 8:45 tonight.
What the hell's it going to say?
What's he going to say and what's it going to mean? At the moment, we were just looking, Nadia asked me to look at what the state at the airport was. It's closed. And the US is struggling to make it secure.
Can you actually imagine what that's like? I mean, the poor Afghani people that haven't got a chance of getting out, but then there's all the people that absolutely should be getting out. People with either a British passport, people that have aided the troops there, you know, translators and all kinds of people. Then there's the people with, there's a very small minority of Christians, but then there's all kinds of different fractions of religions that we know, that they know will be pulverised in the next few weeks. And there's sights today of people jumping onto those planes, just trying to get out, just jumping.
Falling from the fuselage.
I was telling Kiki all about it. I said, we have to just every day thank God, our blessings that we're born in this country. I mean, these people, I mean, you know, the women that have since, you know, in the last 20 years been able to become doctors. I mean, the mayor, the female, youngest, most educated female mayor said, I am sitting, waiting to be murdered. She knows she's not going to survive it.
Yeah.
And we've just pulled out. And I know you've listened to quite a few people on the radio today, haven't you, Mark? Families of people that have lost.
Well, there was an interesting one contribution coming in on the radio just then about from a former soldier who'd fought or been on a peace mission, if you like, to Afghanistan. And his worry is that he knows how it works over there. He said, this isn't just going to be recriminatory damage to the people who've worked for the Americans and the Brits there now. Yeah. Apparently it runs through generation after generation after generation. So generations to come will be punished for their involvement.
Karen S., this is fascinating me. I don't know whether this is the boy I just read about. Karen S. says, a local to me is stuck there. He chose to go on holiday there. His mum is fraught. If this is the same boy I've been reading about,
yeah.
He wanted a bit of adventure. Yeah. There was a cheap flight to Afghanistan. He knew he'd booked it, and then the withdrawal date came, and he couldn't get a refund. So he thought, listen, I'll go anyway. And today he was trying to get help. He couldn't get any help, couldn't get any answer from the British Embassy. He is now in a safe place. Yeah. Though if the airport's closed, how's he going to get out? He was stopped by some Taliban fighters, and he said that he was Welsh because he knew they wouldn't know where Wales was, so they let him go. Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, I read that. Yeah. But he said last night on his social media, he said, I'm looking in the mirror and I can't recognise my face. Got rid of them, Ellery, don't worry. I can't recognise my face because I don't know who I am, because he'd seen so many dead bodies. This is just a young student that's gone out there. And him giving that account, and then you think of all those children witnessing, well, everybody, children, whatever, any human being watching what is going on. Don't worry, Una's gone. Sorry, there was a troll. It's, no, everyone was telling me. No, I was just thinking, I wasn't saying anything, I'm just saying, I mean, I don't know what to say, it's just so... Is there anybody here that knew anybody that served in Afghanistan? Because this morning, listening to the Defence Secretary on LBC, I don't know if any of you saw it. Oh my God, he was so choked up. And Nick Ferrari asked him, why is this so personal to you? Is it because you were a serving officer in Ireland? And he said, look, people are going to get left behind. We're not going to be able to get people out. And he said, I, like every other person, can't bear what I'm seeing with the news reports that I'm seeing. It was so moving. And it just made me think, my God, what these politicians know behind closed doors as well. We're all affected by the horror of what's happening, but what they know as well, that we don't even know the extent of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
some of the other ramifications. I'm just going to read a few comments and then give you even more context on what's happened today. Reese Roberts, the Afghan people climbing the airport for refuge feels eerily reminiscent of the fall of Saigon. It really does, doesn't it? The Chinooks coming into Afghanistan feel very much like those final shots of Saigon as they evacuated the American members of the embassy. Well, it's the same thing. I didn't realise there were about 1,400 US and UK diplomatic folk that were trying to get out. And with the airport in lockdown and them unable to make it secure, you just wonder what the hell's going to happen there. Jimmy Freckles, you could also argue that not enough countries around the world helped American allies. I know what you mean.
Jimmy Freckles,
That's a
very good point.
Yeah.
Actually, the Defence Secretary said, and he was very candid, this was yesterday on Matthew Wright, he said that he'd reached out to all the countries of the United Nations because they hated the deal that Trump had done. They couldn't believe that it was spoken about and then stitched up in 48 hours. There was nothing they could do. So I feel very differently now about our part in this because we're a tiny country. And he reached out to every other country and everybody said they wouldn't help.
Can I just read a really interesting point Kate Fenimore makes? All men climbing the planes, leaving their women.
Well, I suppose they didn't all have women.
Well, maybe not. Maybe we only saw the men who didn't have women. Maybe the men who had women were staying behind.
But often, if you're the woman with all the children, how do you climb onto a plane? And often men are leaving to try and get their families out. What do you do? Do you all stay? I don't know.
But isn't it interesting that the three countries that are saying they can immediately do business with the Taliban regime when they've established it are Russia, Iran and China. All three of them are saying that they will immediately. Now, one of the things that I have heard loads of our own generals and military types in this country saying is we have to also be prepared that the Taliban now, 20 years later, may well try to present an image of being not necessarily modern, but less repressive.
Well, that's what they've been pumping
and
out.
I think,
but
unfortunately,
it's not
we're just
true.
getting those messages from Qatar, aren't we? And other
From
parts.
Doha, yeah,
Doha,
it's coming out. And the thing is, people on the ground and the stories coming out, and almost everyone you see on Sky News is saying that is not the case. They are rounding people up. Girls are already being taken to be married off to the soldiers. And I don't know if you remember, a couple of months ago, I reviewed a book on the No Name Sunday show, didn't I? About a young, it was brilliant novel. Can you remember the name of it? You would, I wouldn't.
No.
Who was sold off as a soldier's wife. What is it they call them when they call soldier's wife? What is it when you're...
Widow.
No, when they enforced marriages
Oh.
with the soldiers. Oh, God. But anyway, that book that I read is haunting me every minute now because it goes into the finest detail. Do you remember when all the girls were round up in that school and taken off?
Boko
Haram.
Yeah.
And it was enforced marriage, and they were all forced marriages to these soldiers.
Got them someone somewhere, don't worry.
And I just can't stop thinking about that detail of that one story that I read and thinking, this is happening to so many girls. And to hear our Defence Secretary crying because he feels that's something, that really is big.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, there's a Cobra meeting happening. I mean, they're taking it seriously. They're taking it very, very seriously.
Parliament has been called back.
Parliament's been called back. That's very, very rare. It's such a complex thing because you've got, you know, it's like Afghanistan has an impact on the Pakistani-Indian pressure. You've got the whole Russian-China thing. Are Russia and China going to use Afghanistan as another proxy state to have proxy wars like Syria? You know, effectively, Russia has kind of run in and taken control of Syria, you know? So, you know, are we going to see a similar sort of thing here where really Afghanistan is going to be chopped up into bits that China, Russia and Iran, I'm sure armoury is going to be sent there?
The world is a more anxious place, the Secretary of Defence said, and it's a more nervous place and it's a more shaky place because of this. And how the rest of the world couldn't have seen that and wanted to keep that part of the world as stable as it's been. I mean, okay, it's always rocky, but, you know, why did nobody want to get involved? Laura Hodgson, my heart is breaking for the women and girls. Me too, Laura. I can't get it out of my head. Everyone, please write to your MP tonight or tomorrow to ask them to protect women's rights in Afghanistan. They can't be left to their fate. Well, I'm afraid they are, and I'm afraid we are powerless.
Yeah, absolutely.
That mayor just saying, I'm just waiting to be killed. She knows. She knows there's no way out for her. For sure. She was a mayor. She was a woman in power. She's educated. Disgusting.
Jane Oxley, it's good to research if you can about the Taliban. They are the soil of Afghanistan, is what they say. And a little bit like the soil of Afghanistan, they've just lain dormant, haven't they, for years. And this is something that your dad talks a lot about. When the West tried to deal with completely different cultures like this, is that we go for a quick narratives. We go for, you go in, you resolve something, A, B, C equals D, done. But culturally, there's a completely different perspective on this, which is, forget that, we'll just wait over there. And if you especially give us a date of when you leave, we'll just wait over there behind the tree.
They gave the date.
And then on the date that you leave, guess what we're going to do?
This is what they say.
We're going to come out. I mean, it's so bloody obvious.
Laura S., we have a friend who was working on an American airbase loading American aircraft, and he came home about 2 months ago, and one of the bases taken over was his base.
Oh my God.
That's going to be the thing for a lot of people, isn't it? That survivor's guilt. But also for the people that lost, you know, somebody dear to them in those, you know, early days in Afghanistan. And I mean, over the years, I've interviewed people that have come back. You know, how does that leave them feeling now? It's
Absolutely.
like, what's the point? 20 years, and then in 9 days, we're back to women being dragged out of cars for driving.
But I was hearing the comments of a widow of a
Exactly,
soldier
Zoe.
in Afghanistan, a British widow of a British soldier, saying it wasn't all in vain. Because of course my first reaction was flipping out, 20 years, all those deaths, and of course that's an incredibly tough thing to rationalise. I know, Caesar, you were talking about it in terms of your experiences too. And I think that there was something meaningful, like you said, albeit a fractious piece, albeit a fragile piece. You know, there was some degree of certainty in that women could get jobs and could be educated.
Well, they're being educated, they're
exactly.
driving.
And I think the memory...
Don't forget the Taliban, before we went... you couldn't play music even without the fear of
And I
torture.
think the testament to these soldiers, British soldiers who've died, is that they provided that for as long as they did.
Yeah.
And I think that's purpose, and there's a reason to have gone in and done that. And I think it's really important for the relatives
to keep the rest of the world stable. This is what people it's easy to forget. People might say, well, what were we doing there? What was the money that's spent? It's a very important. If it hadn't been important, nobody would have bothered. That's the thing. They wouldn't have done it altruistically. The reason that we were there was because it was important for our safety. That's the point. So
But this is an important point because, you know, back in the Blair-Bush days, I was very critical of them both. And Erin Bullimore says, false achievement to begin with, though. They were unable to set up a stable government, and they would never have been able to. You can't just waltz in and try to run a country the same way we run ours. No, and you can't. And you know, and I think one of the mistakes we've made in the West is to assume that we can go in and do stuff. I think, to be fair, the belief was that we went in to try and stop, you know, factions and terrorist organisations to develop. But I tell you one thing, if we don't save and rescue the families or relatives of those people who helped us in Afghanistan and America, if we don't save them, it's going to drive them away from us even more. It will potentially radicalise them in a completely different way because will never be able to step foot in another country again and ask for help, because the same thing happened to the Iraqi translators. Many of them were pursued and beheaded.
It's disgusting. We must absolutely support those people as if they have a British passport.
Yeah.
Sabah Agi, my heart is completely breaking for Afghanistan. As a Muslim woman, it angers me that they claim religion is their permission, absolutely, when everything they do is condemned in the religion. Forced marriage, murder, exactly, torture, all the other things.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly.
I thought that today.
You know, and how does this, again, help Islamophobia? I mean, you know, again, people will get this all mixed up and start blaming all Muslims. And this is, you know, this is a medieval, archaic group of fundamentalist extremists. This isn't about the Muslim religion, is it?
No, and that's what was always kind of, I found contradictory about ISIS, is the idea that you're running around suggesting that no one is respecting this so-called, you know, offshoot of a religion that's full of peace and harmony. and you're justifying somehow rape. That doesn't square up on
But
in
how
anyone's.
how they turn it around is the honour to marry a soldier.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Now, a couple of things on the kind of taking. What do you think? Yes or no? Should we take as many of the Afghanistanis that helped us and their families in as possible? Because yes or no? Yes or no?
Yeah, for me, it's a yes.
Yeah, for me it's a yes. Canada have said they're going to take in 20,000, and I heard someone the other day make a really compelling.
How are they going to get out though?
Well, exactly, if they can get out. But I heard a really compelling point the other day saying we didn't hesitate for a second to offer millions of people in Hong Kong safe haven, and we can't raise it to a couple of 100,000 here. Do you know what I mean? We can offer it.
Well, I can't believe what you said yesterday, that they halted all the scholarships to all the students.
Yeah.
I mean, what would that have been? A tiny
Yeah.
percentage of people.
We have a moral obligation, Ibrahim.
We
Khan.
do.
I think we do.
We do.
Yeah. Greedy world leaders started this war, and all it's caused is tragedy, Gabrielle. Well,
For many years we've had stability, and for many years women have been able to be educated, to, I mean,
It is
oh my
shameful,
God.
Natasha.
When the Taliban was in power last time, you know, I remember watching a film. Do you remember that film we watched with those people underground, girls sitting underground, like with fear of murder, but they wanted to read so bad. You couldn't even read, you couldn't sing, you couldn't dance. It's the same for the men as well. You know, to say nothing was achieved, I think is wrong. I really do. Somebody, who was it, that guy yesterday said, you know, this is a piece of geographical real estate.
Ooh, I find
that
such
is
a
so
horrendous...
important. But you know, in those words, it was the most truthful thing. It was the most truthful thing. So if you can't do it for the human reasons, the reasons we may all want our leaders to take action, the geographical real estate, i.e. slap bang in the middle, China, Russia, Iran, and us, you know, you have to look at that fact that that is a place where we have to have a foundation to hold this all up. So, and, you know, it has for the last 20
Absolutely.
years. To
Reece
a degree, obviously, not completely.
Reece Roberts' foreign policy is largely abused and gets overrun with political gain and trade deals, and the people of those countries end up as collateral damage. You're absolutely right.
Geographical real estate.
Jimmy Freckles, for those of you that are worried and fearful and anxious, one of the best ways to deal with that is by sending love and helping others when you are feeling this way. Absolutely true. Be of service. Steph for Mind UK, a lady in Afghan has spoken out saying, "You will not take my rights, my life or my freedom. We will not go back. The women are getting organised. Organised women are incredibly strong." And
What's that? Sorry? Brave.
yeah, brave. I just wanted to share, the news is just coming through that the US are now not sending 1,000 troops, they're sending 7,000 troops. And at that point, it becomes a ground invasion again.
Oh my
I mean,
God,
7,000.
the madness of it!
So they're sending 7,000 troops, and the UK have increased our troops to, have increased it by 200. So we've got 900 troops that are essentially going to try and make the airport secure.
But they do keep
And the
reiterating over and over again here as well. Our troops are merely there to do the paperwork, to get the people out. That's all we are there for.
The US has announced it's expanding its number of troops by 1,000 to 7,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. And there will be 900 British military there. And as I say, Biden will be making a speech at 8:40 time.
God, well, I hope he can bloody
British
get out a decent bloody speech.
Well, yeah, so do I.
Time to let Kamala take over, I think.
Yeah. The BBC have been speaking to young people in Kabul. One woman describes the city as silent. God, that must be so chilling.
Oh my God,
so
don't.
chilling. Another resident said they were terrified to go out. We're emotionally, psychologically in a very bad condition. We are hopeless. It's like a countdown waiting for our turn to be captured by them. Everyone in here is trying to escape to another country to escape execution. Satellite images are showing crowds at the airport. There we go.
I mean, when you think of that line that boy, that student that accidentally went on holiday to Afghanistan and said, "I'm looking in the mirror and my face doesn't look like mine because of all of what I've seen."
Yeah.
And he's in a safe house waiting to be flown out. Imagine what that's like when there's no pinhole of fucking light out of where they are.
Yeah. Christ, I mean,
It
that
makes me
footage
so
of people
sad. It
falling
makes
from
me
the
so
plane is just
angry.
horrendous.
It's just like, it's almost like I feel any one of those girls and those women could be ours, our
Yeah.
daughters, our sisters, our mothers, you know, and that's how we, why can't, I mean, God damn Trump, God damn him, he just went in there. I mean, these thugs, it's like thugs are in power and they're
yes.
not thinking about the people.
But the problem for Biden is that it was started by Trump, and he
It
could
was.
have he could have had it parked at Trump's door. But already Trump has come out saying this is a dereliction of duty, and you know Trump is a master of working the media because Biden doesn't fucking open his mouth.
Doesn't say anything.
He's like just like
get out,
fucking
get
Keir
your
Starmer.
slippers off,
Yeah.
stand outside and have a word.
Get your slippers off, or send your vice president out.
She's very able. Let's hear Kamala Harris.
This will really move you, Nads. This is from women journalists in Afghanistan. Women in the media in Kabul are talking of trying to destroy any traces of their identity as they brace for Taliban retribution. Can you believe that? For many years, one of them says, for many years I worked as a journalist to raise the voice of Afghans. In the last 24 hours, our lives have changed and we have been confined to our homes with death threats coming at us every minute. I mean, you know. It's,
oh my God, Mark. It's so scary.
So the people at the airport, all we're seeing are only the people who made it to the airport. Don't forget that. No, there aren't any Turkish vlogs, Sharona. I don't think I could have said Turkish vlogs. We never did a Turkish vlog. Kamala is AWOL too, so let not give her credit. She doesn't deserve John Thomas.
Now, where is she?
Well, we're not giving her credit because we were just asking, where are they?
We'll have anyone.
Can you believe Trump's filled the vacuum with being able to get a criticism in of Biden
Let's
first?
bring Barack Obama out again, like we did for the bloody election.
Well, he won them the election, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is. Sarah Watkins, my mother is Iranian, and it's sickening the way women are treated in these countries. You're right, the Islam faith is nothing like these extremists say. It's awful.
And I feel so sorry for Muslims that are actually Muslims and not these barbarians.
I know. simply says, "Dear Lord, deliver us from evil." It's such a shame. Ashley Gardner, I'd say yes. I presume you mean to bringing the Afghanistanis in, but where would they live? How would they earn their money? We have enough people on the streets not getting the help, people on waiting lists. I mean, yeah.
But this is a point. This is saving from terrible murders. So, you know, you can't leave people
and
that
it
you've
would
had
be,
working for you and just leave them to, you know, to their
But
fate.
I think you raise an interesting point. Our
interesting.
infrastructure is creaking at the edges. So, you know, the way I see it, it's a burden of responsibility we have to take, and we have to deal with the consequences.
Maybe if the Tories stopped wasting so much money, putting it into their mates' pockets.
Oh, yeah. What,
because
the
every time I'm
billion?
asked anything like this about how we will pay for it, I think about all the money that was wasted on the track and trace, all the deals that were cut behind closed doors with people that weren't, you know, qualified to get the job, and you think, fucking hell, we've got pots of money sitting somewhere.
It's a bit like the ferry company they gave a ferry commission to that didn't have a ferry. Do you remember that? Russ Souch, hi Russ. We can't just sit here and let them suffer. We have to all pull together and get those innocent people out. I think it's a bit of we have to get them out and then deal with how we deal with it afterwards.
It's the rights, morally right. Who are we if we don't look after these people? Yeah. But unfortunately, I don't think anyone's going to be able to get out.
Creatorholic wasted money on that stupid hill in London.
Oh, thank you, Creatorholic. We've been to see it, and my God, it is shit. That's exactly what I said. The government can never say to us they haven't got money for anything if they can spend that money on that hill.
Aaron Bullimore, sometimes with this kind of thing, you simply have to let these countries develop. Help refugees, absolutely, but countries will have to find their own feet, lasting peace. Sadly, we can't just hand it to them. But the problem sometimes we have in the West as well is that we think that the system that works for us is going to work for them. And it's just not the case. You have to have flexibility in whatever system they hit upon, in a sense. I mean, by all accounts, whenever I talk to your dad, he says Libya is just an absolute mess. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah. Izzy Perry, the press room that cost millions that they had for a few weeks and got rid of. Thank you.
Yeah.
We've got loads of money.
Absolutely.
It's just we've got morons in charge of it.
Hard to find your own feet, though, says MeTube, under a totalitarian regime.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Let's move on. What's next?
That's it. It's an Afghanistan night, I'm afraid.
Well, should we do something a bit light?
Yes.
Hit the like button underneath us if you would like to lighten this up a bit and have a bit of something else to get us through.
Which isn't to make light of what's going on.
No,
because it's,
but just to pass through, because
we have the luxury of that.
I think we can talk about this, we can do whatever we can do, but also that we know that we are powerless. And I can, like, if I really go into it, I get so... Depressed isn't the right word, but I get immobilised by it. Do you know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
I agree.
So let's try and take our minds away from this for now, because we're going to be talking about it for decades, because the ramifications are going to go on for decades, and we're going to see suffering for decades. And so, please God, one thing, America, if you're listening, don't let this be a way to get Trump back in. Don't let Trump manipulate.
The terrible difficulty is as you look through the press, there's absolutely nothing that's positive. So I think you should have a natter. What was it you said you were going to have a natter about yesterday? It wasn't crisps, it was something else, wasn't it?
Oh,
Fry-ups.
Fry-ups. So there is a company looking for people. Ashley, you might like this, but you can't because you are still on your diet. And they're looking for people to travel the country, and I think they're paying 250 quid. I'm not sure how. I don't know whether that's for the entire time. For people to go around the country testing fry-ups, and so that you can find the ultimate fry-up, the winner. So, your ultimate fry-up, what would it have?
My ultimate fry-up would, well, bizarrely, over the years, I've developed a taste for black pudding. I used to hate... Well, no, I used to hate it. And when I was told what it was, I hated it even more. And then I tasted it, I think probably
Jenny Faye
hungover.
hates black pudding.
And I loved it. I can't stand baked beans.
Me too.
I can't stand... what was I going to say? Baked beans and something else like that.
Oh, air drying. That's
yes.
right, Faith. We forgot air drying. We'll have to do that tomorrow.
I don't like any onions. Sometimes you get onions chopped on there, don't you?
Right, mine has to have...
Oh, sorry, cooked tomatoes. I hate them.
Okay, mine has to have cooked tomatoes, grilled, fresh tomatoes, but sometimes, wait for it, I like a tinned tomato. Yeah, I know, controversial. I like fried eggs, but turned over because I don't like any jelly on the top, and I like it on the buttered toast. One of my pet hates is in a hotel or somewhere where they bring the egg separately with the toast in a toast rack and the cold butter and thing, and you think, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to get my egg on my toast? So crispy bacon, egg, crispy sausage, like it well done, tomatoes, and that's it. I don't even like mushrooms.
I like mushrooms.
I like mushrooms separately. I don't like
I like
them
a
on my
button
fry-up.
mushroom in
Grilled
mine.
tomatoes.
I love a hash brown.
Nope. No potato
Love a
anywhere
hash
near
brown.
my... that was never the thing.
What do you mean?
That's
It was for
an
me.
Irish breakfast with potatoes.
Well,
but
I
a
love an
traditional
Irish
English
breakfast.
does not have potatoes.
What are yours, guys? What are yours? I love my problem is when you're only given one sausage. That annoys the pants off me.
I always give you my sausage,
Nick,
don't
you
I?
do. Nick, I've sometimes given you mine.
Mark!
Nicola Higgins. What did you just say? Ulster fry-up. An Ulster fry-up. Is that
That's
what I
what
like?
we did. We did it on the live, didn't
Tatty scone, soda bread, potato bread. Ali C, sausage, bacon, potato scones, eggy bread, hash
we?
browns.
Eggy bread?
Oh, they
What,
were
you don't
potato
want
scones we
you
made.
don't want your egg on the top? Eggy bread fried on the bread. This is strange, isn't
Curious gets curiouser and curiouser.
Doesn't it?
Hate a runny white. I like my eggs poached.
Hate a runny white.
Love a
I
poached
prefer
egg.
to have a hard-boiled one than any hint of runny white.
Love a poached egg. Jenny Boardman Holmes, sausages, bacon, mushrooms, grilled tomatoes and toast. Grilled
Mine-
tomatoes make my skin go funny.
Mine has to be streaky, smoked, grilled crisp.
Reese Roberts says, I've overheard someone once say that eating eggs is like eating rejected babies, and I've never been able to get rid of that
God,
thought.
miserable so-and-so.
Oh, Reese, yeah, no, say thank you to them. Fried bread is so evil, but when I was younger and I could eat it, it was so good. It's like your mum's favourite, isn't it? So good. Egg fried bread is amazing,
Egg
says
fried
Marky,
bread.
and this is truly odd.
Oh my God, I've got to go. Oh, should we have a fry-up for dinner?
Oh, as long as I have a couple of veggie sausages, toast and hash browns, I'm happy, Ella Rose.
Let's have a fry-up for dinner.
I must admit,
Do you ever have a fry-up for dinner?
yeah, I think we should tip everything on its head. I think
And
we
I've
should
got
have
the bacon.
dessert for breakfast.
I haven't got any sausages.
We should have soup before we go to bed. Just in case you're in Scotland and you want a little bit of really worrying news, look, Pubs, oh, you can't see it, pubs, there you go, fear running dry, catastrophic shortages.
Oh, my, I thought we were trying to lighten the mood with the English
We are.
fry-up.
Just don't go down your pub for one.
Tomorrow, I want you to have a think. As Faith, thank you for reminding me. Air drying, body air drying. Do you do it? It's going to be part of our chat tomorrow.
Body air drying.
Well, you're going to find out tomorrow.
Is that just lying there getting dry?
I'll tell you tomorrow.
Okay. All right, guys.
We love you guys. Thank you for staying with us. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. The like button underneath us if you have, well, enjoyed's not the right time, but not the right word, but I don't know.
Oh, Rhiann Kemp, that's really funny, Mark, after seeing your post on Popular Jumps about right. Yeah, the Wrexham sign is wonky, but then so too is the Hollywood sign.
Such a good film.
Yeah. We'll
Love
tell you about
lots,
it later.
Like jelly tots.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.